Evening, folks. I hope you're well. So, see who we got on. We got a few. Now, this is the first time, so it might be a little bit slower to get going because this is the first time that the show is being broadcast directly from the RPI Facebook page. And the reason for that is over the course of the next month or so, there's going to be some guest hosts. And it's a lot easier if we can, well, we need to do it anyway. We need to be broadcasting from the Racing Pigeon International page, right? Previously, I've been broadcasting from my timeline, which is fine. It got a lot of, essentially, it got more engagement quicker. But we need to be doing it from the page. This is the first time we're doing it directly from the page. And ultimately, this is where it will be. So if you haven't yet liked the page, and only about a third of my friends on Facebook have actually liked the Racing Pigeon International page, go and like it, because then it will give you the ability to be notified when we are live, as sometimes it does to a lot of people when I'm live myself personally. So yeah, so moving forward, it will the show will be broadcast live from the Racing Pigeon International page. And like I said earlier, the reason for that is because we're going to be having guest hosts on. Why are we going to be having guest hosts? Because practically I'm not going to be able to host the show every Monday and Thursday. For instance, at the end of this month, I will be down in the Algarve the last Thursday of the month. And I will also be down in the Algarve the last Monday of the month. And for that, we're going to be having a guest host. So the show continues. It's just going to be with somebody different, not me, which a lot might be happy about. So yeah, and ultimately, as many times as possible when I cannot, due to diary reasons, host the show, instead of the show not going ahead, we will have guest hosts, and that's why the show will be coming in from the page. And moving forward as a whole thing, it's a lot better that the show comes from the page. So I hope you understand why. Okay, so let's crack on. We've got a lot of people on, but before I do that, before I see who's on and speak to people, we are going to go with some results. And the first results we're going to go with, let's get them up. We've got first one, Arklow United Racing Pigeon Club. Sheldon Leonard and Yannick Derrida took 7 of the 10 spots. They took first, second, third, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Good flying there. And a special message to Sheldon, who no doubt won't be watching because it's his birthday today. So happy birthday to Sheldon. I hope you're well. The next shout out for the race results is to Jason Bateman. Yellowton was the liberation point at 1:45. I assume that's on the Saturday. Flying 95 miles, and Jason took first. And he also took 9th, 10th, 11th. And I would like to also give a mention to R. Herbert, who took 2nd and 3rd, P. Kennington, who took 4th, Mr. A. George, who took 5th and 6th. So a good variety race there as well. But well done to Jason Bateman, who took the first spot there. I don't know where this is from, but I'm still going to give it a shout out. Congratulations to Rodney Abington, that took first and second in his club race this weekend with a flying time of 3 hours 40 minutes. Alan Larkin and Sons took first and second with a velocity of 13.63 and 13.25. Well done to you. And then we've got a result from Pillmore Beach. We covered that. This is the Dublin North Club, and congratulations to Henry Byrne, who took first there. Nevin and Barry took second, third. Kay Duggan and family fourth. Nevin and Barry fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Fifth, sixth, seventh. Sorry, and Henry Byrne came back in. Henry Byrne came back in at eighth there. So well done to you guys flying there. As I say, we covered that liberation. It was a stunning liberation. If you haven't yet seen the liberation, go and check out the liberation on Racing Pigeon International's page. Our man Aaron took the time and went down there to do that liberation, which was great. Congratulations. I don't know any more than what you can see on the screen here. Congratulations to Brian O'Regan on first, Mr. Liam Rafferty second, Dave Beresford third and fourth, Brian O'Regan back in at fifth, sixth back in with Liam Rafferty. Congratulations to Tala West Racing Pigeon Club. You don't need to see that photo. And then you got D&T Desmond and family flying in from Pillbourne Beach. Again, 19 members sent 411 birds. They took the first 3 spots there. Well done to you guys. GNM Doyle took the top 7 spots. I don't know where from, but wherever it was from, congratulations. It was a flying time of 1 hour, 34 minutes. We've got the Irish National Flying Club from Skibbereen. I wanted to give a shout out to this. E. Kennedy and Son took first spot. 40 members sent 370 birds. On the middle section, 156 members entered 1,408 birds on the north. You can see it there. Congratulations to E. Kennedy and Son taking first. And congratulations to Derek Walsh, who took second, third, fourth, and sixth as well. Well done to you guys. This one is a little bit harder to read, and I'm going to do my best to read it. This is a non-UK or Ireland result, but I wanted to share it. Just give me a second, and I'm going to try and do that there. That will work. This is a result that came in, and I wanted to highlight it because this is a Romanian race, and I regularly speak to the guy down there, Adrian Kakar, down in Romania. Massive racing scene down in Romania, and I actually was in Constanta round about this time last year. Some hard racing over there and some very competitive. But I wanted to give a shout out to him. He took first spot there from that race point. Like I said, I just wanted to give a shout out to a non-UK. We're going to be highlighting a lot more non-UK races. I'm currently working on getting the systems in place to be able to highlight non-UK and Irish races. I want to be highlighting some of the standout performances from other countries as well. It's something I'm going to be working on to get that a little bit better formatted and easier for me to be able to cover it. So there's the results for this week. If you've got any more results that you would like me to share and get a shout out on Thursday's show, send them in to me and let me know. The next thing I want to talk about, well, first of all, I wasn't going to talk about that for a minute. What I am going to talk about is let's just see who's online. I'm going to shout out. We've got a lot of people watching and joining us, so I'm not going to shout out. I haven't got time at the moment to shout out everybody's joined, but I am going to go through the comments. So Peter Bell's in. How you doing, Peter? Joe Freely's in. Anthony Bracken's in. David Sean Putman's in. Thomas O'Connor's in. Those guys are having a little conversation on the thread themselves, which is all good. Liam Watmore's in. Reggie Howells is in. David Penrose is watching. Fabian Lord's watching. A non-pigeon man is watching. I'm all right, Fabian. Thank you. Morris O'Donnell's in. Bateman is in. Jason, we gave you a shout. I'm quite sure if you caught it earlier. Gary Tomlinson's in. Thank you very much. Yeah, I enjoyed the weekend interview. If you didn't see the interview with the winners of Who Dares Wins race this year, go and have a look. John O'Brien's in. Peter Abdom's in. And we got Cy James in as well. We've got a lot more people in than that, but they're the people that have said hello or made a comment. We have slightly less people watching than normal, but I think that's because of the page transition, and there's not a lot we can do about that. But just spread the word, and I will continue to spread the word out there. I'm going to give a couple of shout-outs to people that haven't mentioned anything yet. David McKenna, Tom Powers, Stephen Scott, Mikey McConaughey, Lee Davidson, Alan Cormack, John Waters, Jason Cheeseman, John Agwin, Graham Lawler, Mark Thompson, David Garnett, Barry Kinnear, Simon Schofield, Ian Gill's watching, Andrew Kavanagh, Dave Shorman Putman, Reggie Howells, Paul Littlewood, Dom Hayes, Stephen O'Brien, Andrew Owen, Winky O'Boyle, Darren Mooney, Keith Allister, and lots more watching. So, thank you for watching, guys. So we've got a few things I posted on Facebook, bit of an open one today. There's a couple of things I specifically want to talk about, and we will do so. And I will do that now, Morris, because it was on my list, so I might as well do it while you've said. The Algarve Golden Race Hotspot 3 race will be on this Friday, with the semi-final being on the 14th of September, weather permitting. All right, so that's the Algarve Golden Race. The Hotspot 3 race for that will be on this Friday, weather permitting. And the semi-final will be on the 14th, again, weather permitting. I will keep you posted on that. And I'm going to see if I can do a live coverage feed in from that. We will see if we can do that as well. So there you go. We've got a lot more people joining now. Actually, we're on about our level, our normal level for the show. So that makes me happy because people are tuning in to the page and it's not too much of a thing. We've got a bunch more people to join in. So anybody that's been sharing that and letting me know, letting other people know about it, let me thank you for that. Jeffrey Abdul, Abel's watching. Sorry, Les Carter, Freddie Bannister Love, Shane McCullen, John Rowland, Paul McKerner, Jerry McCourt, Willie Lennox, Wayne McQuain, John McFarlane, James Donovan, Stevie Bosloff, Farger, Ricky Turner, Chris Davis, Dave Lawrence is watching. Adam Glass is watching. So thank you very much for watching, folks. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about, there's a few things I want to talk about, and we've got our RPI Man in Ireland coming on, Aaron Ennis. Aaron, if you're watching this, which I know you are, come in and join via the link I sent out to you, mate, if you would, so I know you're ready to come in. The first thing I want to talk about, and it's not like me to be controversial, but I do want to talk about it because I think it's an interesting topic. And it's been on my list for a few weeks to talk about, actually. And the first question I've got is, the British Homing World, should it have a complete makeover? So, in context about the question, I have read the British Homing World since I was the age of diddly squat. I continue to read the British Homing World every week. I don't actually have the paper version now, although I may do as well. I used to have both paper and the online version. What I like about the online version is you get it on a Wednesday, and that's very useful. Certainly moving into the autumn time, it's very useful to get it on a Wednesday because you can see what's coming up for sale. You can see way ahead of the game. So it's handy to get it on a Wednesday. Now, I am a fan of the British Homing World. I think it's a great magazine, paper, whatever you want to call it. And like I say, every single week I read it. And I have done off and on for the last 10 years. I don't read everything. I only read what I want to. I skim through it. I have in the past only really read the adverts to see what's happening with trends and stuff. But I do now, of course, doing RPI, I read through it. I don't read word for word, but I certainly go through it. And my question is this. So I'm a fan. I pretext it by saying I'm a fan. And there are some good things in there, okay? So I'm in no way, shape, or form dissing the magazine, right? I am a fan, and I have it. I subscribe every single week, and I like the online version. But world is. And what I mean by that is, you know, the homing world gives great information, albeit a lot of the same information week in, week out, but it gives good information. It's the place for printed. Can nobody hear me? Okay. I got, I heard there was no sound. I apologize, guys. One second. My Facebook let me down. Okay, so what I'm saying, hopefully you got sound back now, and I apologize for that. I don't know what happened there. That's something I really need to look into, because that occasionally happens and I don't like it. So there's the comparisons I'm making, all right? That's all I'm saying. I'm putting it out there that, you know, in line with taking this sport to a recognized what we're trying to do, recognizing what we're trying to do, look at the difference. Right now, I know the argument will be is, well, pigeon men, look at the homing world. This is not a magazine for members of the public. This is not a magazine for people to outside of the pigeon world to look at. And I get what people are saying. I get that argument. But what I would say is, if somebody was to look at, let's say, the Canadian Pigeon International magazine, albeit an online version, that to me would be far more appealing to a non-flyer, to a member of the public, to have a look at and think, what's going on there, than said British homing world. So let's see what feedback and comments we've got on my little opinion. And it is only that. And again, I can't say it enough. I'm a fan, and I will continue to be someone who reads the magazine every week for the information it gives. But I still think it could, you know, I think it personally could benefit from a revamp. And I think a revamp would set the tone as to what we're trying to do, or certainly what I'm trying to do with RPI, and what the sport generally should be done. So let's see what we've got here comments-wise. Typically, Ian Gill is being controversial. I would expect no less, and that's absolutely fine. Ian Gill, and I'm not a disclaimer here. I don't know the editor of the British Homing World personally. The only editor I ever knew was Mr. David Glover many years ago, who helped me out in many ways behind the scenes. Ian Gill says, do you know the British Homing World has an editor who doesn't edit? And he goes on to say, I haven't bought it in the last 15 years as it's yesterday's news. There's an argument there that it is old news, but the reality is the amount of advertisers that go in there and continue to advertise in it, people still go to it for that. So what do people, there's the question, I guess. What do people buy the homing world for? I previously have bought it to see what who's advertising and what they're advertising, right? So what other reasons do people buy it for, you know? I suppose that's a question to ask. Let's see what other comments we've got. It is an issue, Stephen. It is an issue for the British homing world themselves to decide on. But considering the British homing world is owned by the RPRA, and considering the idea that the RPRA supposed to be ran for its members from the ground up by its members, if you are a member of the RPRA, I think a valid point would be to express your opinion if it should be changed. Apologies again for people that couldn't hear. Yeah, good pick of Jenkin Davis on the front page. Apologies, guys, about the sound. Paul Littlewood said, "Are makeover costs and are people willing to pay more than £1.15? Has to be the question." Personally, Paul, I don't think a complete makeover of the magazine would cost diddly squat. From a financial point of view, it would cost some time to do. I'm not proposing that it changes in its paper type or anything like that. I'm saying, given it as it currently is, with the paper content that it's got and the paper type that it's got, it could still be revamped without any extra financial cost. Okay, what else have we got here? Yeah, apologies for the sound, guys. Okay, so Inga says if the comparison is not a great one. Wayne Conway's just joined in. Paul Littlewood says the RPRA needs to change the sport. One member, one vote, and implementation of the Hall report. Then we can see great changes. I completely agree. I have no idea why it wouldn't be one member, one vote. Well, I do, because I know the people at the top don't like the idea of their titles and their positions changing to where one member, one vote would essentially rule out a whole big layer of organizational infrastructure, would not be needed as much. The whole report should also be implemented, but as we know, that's not happening. Ask yourself the question why that's not happening. John O'Brien says not many fans read it in Ireland. I think you're right. I actually think a lot of people read the Racing Pigeon in Ireland more than the Homing World, if that's the case. Peter Bell says, "Mark, it's all money." Do you mean in relation to the redesign of it, or that it currently brings in money, so why bother changing anything? I agree, Lee. It is nice to see write-up and loft reports. It is. Peter Bell says he buys looking for good birds but never get any. Andrew Walton says if you look at it in the next few weeks, you'll see people selling their stuff to buy corn for the next winter. Ian Gill says nice to see Ronnie Bigwood looking in. So Stephen O'Brien says the British Army World costs £1.95 in Dublin, whereas the Pictorial Gloucester magazine costs €5. Tom Powers, who writes in said magazine and whose article I highlighted last week, and not just because it mentioned me, said, "I would say not a full makeover. I've written articles for British Home World and the Canadian International, and they both have different aspects. People like to see their name in print, and British Home World services that need. The Canadian is more article-based, and that serves another need. Combination of two would be best solution, in my opinion." Shane Rostron says, "Hello." So James says, "Could do with more informative articles, as in systems, tips, etc. Although getting information out just could be hard, and that's always an age-old problem." Ian Gill says it's great to see that it's not many of these guys have actually dealt with the editorial stuff of British Home World. I have, and it's a joke, which many would verify. Okay, so let's take a vote based on those comments. Do we think the do we think the British Homing World should have a revamp? Yes or no? My vote would be for yes, with no financial implication to the end user, and I think it could be done so like that. Let's go with yes or no. Simple yes or no's. Do we think there should be a revamp of the British Homing World? Yes or no? I'm talking graphically, look, feel, slightly rejig it to be more up with the current decade that we're living in. Let's say that. While those votes are coming in, David says he's misreading the Homing World every week when they've stopped it in Ireland. Wayne Conway says he's cancelled his waste of money. While that's coming in, we wait to get some feedback on that because we have the delay and I don't want to be sitting here talking about nothing. Gary Tomlinson says, I hear Pigeon Chat has had a revamp, so they obviously do. So you are obviously doing a great job, Mark. Keep it up. This site finally has got a competitor who says it as it is and does not ban you from their site if they say something else it does not agree with. Thank you for your comments, Gary. I actually spoke to the owner and messaged her this morning of Pigeon Chat saying congratulations for the revamp. We had a brief chat. I know they've had a few technical issues and teething problems are the bane of anybody that does anything technical with his life. And I think in general, the revamp is a good thing for the site. I know on a mobile, it's not necessarily working great yet, but I'm sure it will be. And I will go to say, as I have said before, this idea of competition, this idea of hating competition and hating the people running the competition is not the way I operate. If me launching RPI in any way, shape or form prompts others to perhaps think about rejigging what they're doing or upping their game, in general, that is only going to help everybody concerned, people watching it, reviewing it, whatever it is. And that's good for everybody concerned. So, you know, I applaud them for the revamp. It was interesting, I will say, to see the mention of Pigeon Chat TV. That was interesting because I would like to think perhaps maybe slightly that's partly been inspired by what I'm doing here on Racing Pigeon International TV, but who knows? So the votes are in yes, 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 no, Ian Gill says. Ian's the only one. Typically, he's always bloody different, Ian. Yes, 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 no, yes, 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 yes. John O'Brien says the whole pigeon world needs a shake-up and a slap in the face, less advertising and more promotion, so I'll vote yes. Yes and yes. So overwhelmingly, yes, it needs a revamp. I would say, Stephen, to your comment there, advertising is what keeps that magazine going. You said less advertising and more, I think you mean promotion, so I'll vote yes, you said. Advertising is what keeps that magazine going. And I would also argue, not knowing specifically, but guessing, that advertising and the British Homing World income greatly helps the RPRA in general. So advertising is the lifeblood of that magazine, and it needs that advertising to continue doing what it does. But we have overwhelming yes. Ian Gill says Pigeon TV. So yeah, the overwhelming yes, and I will make sure that somebody somewhere within the RPRA of the British Homing World gets to see this little clip and see if they've got any thoughts on that. So that was an interesting exercise. I'm still waiting for Aaron to come in to talk about a few things. I put out on Facebook earlier topics, and I'm not necessarily going to be addressing all of those topics. There was a hell of a lot of them. Some of them we've spoke about before, but what I am going to do is go through a few of them now to pitch what we are likely to be talking about over the coming weeks, and get people's opinions on what we should be talking about as well. I put it out onto our group and my timeline. David Redmond said he would. Well, let me share it so I don't have to read absolutely everything out, and you can see what people were saying. So, Aaron, thanks, man. I can see you in. I will be with you shortly. So, David Redmond says all about the losses, unbelievable this year. We talked about that. I put a post out about that, but I definitely want to do a show where we get people on talking about that, because I think it's one of the most important issues that we need to talk about. David Penrose says about the birds of prey issue. Stephen Harrison says about the price of ETS rings. Gavin Cooper talks about injections. Peter Bell said about how he thinks we're getting ripped off by the pigeon corn suppliers. David Penrose also went on to say about pigeon trackers. That's something that I will definitely be talking about down the line, because it's something I'm looking into myself. Microwaves affecting pigeons, Mark Thompson says. Bitterness, why no credit to winners, Vincent McConnell says. Anthony Bracken says we should talk about why change is good for the sport, why we need to move with the times for better of the sport. Lavender Hill loss, what is depurative feed and and how and when to feed it. Jason Doyle said, what is it you're doing? What it is you're doing? Eagle Hour promotion, one-off races, and auction pays. Lots of question marks. Don't know what that exactly means. But I would only be too glad to answer that question, Jason, if you want to let me know specifically what you'd like to know. Anthony Besant says, not necessarily ideas, but proper trained avian vet. That would be very good. I would like to find that. Someone knows things impacting in pigeons, navigation, scientific, specific types of feed, etc. All good suggestions. So yeah, there's some good feedback there. And then in the group, we had more feedback as well. We had Chris Davis ask about the dates on the European Eagle Hour project, which I will be talking about shortly. I'll be bringing that up next. Gas Pigeon Horse says he's had fat eye, not raced for 2 races and left it to run its course. Okay, now the lad in the club is injected, so I'd be interested to see what people think. Young bird losses again, Ken Fletcher wants to talk about, which is obviously a very important thing. Chris Davis, people's views on improving club and national racing. That would be a very good one to talk about, and I'd definitely like to do that. Birds of prey issues, obviously. Tony says we need to go back to wicked crates and easy type bedding. Andrew Bird, why do Belgium and Dutch convoys allowed at discussing liberations when we see and hear the transporters facing each other? Leighton Milford says about the sport, make it some more things fun to watch and you can gamble on. You've got a lot of interesting ideas, Leighton, many of which I'm looking to do. So yeah, they're the kind of feedback. So I'm going to go through all of those, and I'm going to basically get together a list of those subjects. And then what I'm going to do is, if it's something we can't just talk about ourselves and we need somebody to talk about and get involved, that's what I'll be looking to do. The avian vet is something I'm definitely want to get on board and see if we can find somebody to do to participate in that. Definitely want to do that. Right, I'm going to talk about because it came up on there, and it's actually been something that I've ran out of time to talk about before. The European Eagle Owl project. Somebody asked about specific dates and what have you. Right, so here's the lowdown on it. It is not, sorry, 1 second. Sorry. It is not, it hasn't progressed at the speed that I wanted it to, mainly down to me. And when I say mainly down to me, what I mean is it was decided the European Eagle Owl project is going to be done through a new organization called Pigeon Sport Future Foundation. The setup of that foundation and that non-profit organization is not an easy, simple thing. Although it actually has been created, everything that needs to be created around it is something that takes time. In addition to that, the harsh reality is I've had other stuff over the last 2 weeks that I've had to get done and work on. And I've got one more thing, technical issues regarding my the RPRI auction stuff have put me back a little bit, if I'm absolutely honest. Once those technical issues are sorted out, the PSF site, the Pigeon Sport Future site, will be being done. As soon as that's finished, then we can officially launch the European Eagle Owl project, right? So there's a process that has to happen. And to get a weight behind it, so it's not just an idea that a couple of guys have come up with, albeit a great one and people are ready to back, it has to be based around the PSF Foundation. So that framework needs to be put together, and then we can officially launch the European Eagle Owl project, right? So in real terms, I would say 2 weeks away from officially launching it. And what officially launching it means is we are 2 weeks away from being able to start the fundraising campaign to get the project up and running. That's where we are. That's the realistic stage we're at with the European Eagle Owl project. I hope that answers questions. And when the PSF Foundation's website is up and running, you will see what I'm talking about it being part of what we're doing. And then we, as a focus of the European Eagle Owl focus, we can focus in specifically on that as part of that thing. Let's catch some comments on that I've missed. Yeah, I mean, just going back to British Homing World, Stephen, the harsh reality is that during the summer, there's not that many adverts, really. During the winter, yeah, half of the entire magazine can be adverts. But that's just the way it is, because that's the winter season. And it's that winter season that generates the profits that are needed to run that magazine and ultimately give profits back to the RPRA. Of course, cynically, some would ask what actually happens with the profits that the RPRA gets from it, but that's a whole other issue altogether. Ian Gill said he said no because it won't change British Homing World. The man that says who mentioned corn suppliers was spot on. We will talk about that as a Dave Perez says, can we talk about this thing in the head of the birds are not thinking right. Peter Evans said, FOMO Dead, how many birds went back from the live race at Fillets? There was 83 back in total. Gary Tomlinson said, fat eye is herpes. You must vaccinate all your stock birds plus young birds. Many fanciers have helped. Can't believe the difference in their young birds this season. So that is herpes. 84 now birds back from Fillets and the Who Dares wins. Stephen O'Brien says, what vaccine do you use, Gary? Is the one vaccine allowed for us is the Columbac PMV in Ireland. David Redmond, hitting natural birds hard, fat eye. Broline eye drops clears it. Gary Tomlinson says, email or message him on Facebook and he will help you. Ronald Bigwood says, what effects will Brexit have on the sport in the UK? That's an interesting one, Ronnie. And that's something that I definitely would like to address. But I'm not going to address it today because I'm actually doing a Facebook Live down at Walker's Transport with Mark Walker on Wednesday, all being well. And he is the one man that can answer that question, because he is constantly in touch with all of the relevant authorities, depending on which way this whole mess goes. So I will leave it until then, if that's all right. Evening to you, Aaron Haynes. Okay. Right. So, yeah. So that's where we're at there. So, as I say, we will deal with the Brexit issue on the impact of racing and birds. Though, if this goes wrong, it's going to severely impact birds coming in to the UK and Ireland. Well, not Ireland, sorry, the north of Ireland. It's going to severely impact birds coming into the UK and Northern Ireland. But actually, it's going to impact birds coming into Ireland as well, because from my understanding of it, they have 8-hour limits on their travel. I suggested, well, why can't birds go straight from Holland into Dublin or what have you? And that can't happen because of the 8-hour limit. So actually, it affects pretty much all of the UK and Ireland, depending on what happens. And that is not a good thing at all. We'll say some welcomes to others that have come in. Peter Curran, Visser is in, Joe Johnson's in, David Keating's in, Rack is in, Colin Dodd's in, Julian Lewis, Zandy's in. All right, Zand. Garrett Hennessy, Lee, Kevin Bottles in, and Thomas Hall's in. So yeah, the Brexit one's an interesting one, and we will talk about that with people that are more qualified to talk about it, probably on Wednesday. If not Wednesday, we'll do it Thursday. Okay, so got any more questions on the European Eagle Hour project, let me know. But I hope people get that. And I'm quite open to people asking questions. I'm quite open to, we want people to get involved in this. All right. So, you know, it's something we want people to be helping us with, obviously. Right. So next we're going to do is we are going to bring in our man, our RPI man in Ireland. We're going to bring in Aaron. 1 second. How are you, mate?
Right, what's happening?
All right. Yeah, all right, mate. Busy. I'm glad we're back up to normal numbers coming from the page, which is good.
Once everyone shares it, and get your watch party going.
Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back up. But we're about there. We're probably 10% down on normal. Well, on a really good day, we are down, but on a normal average, we are about 10%. So yeah. All right. So let's talk about some stuff. What you're doing? You did the. We just had a comment come in as you were coming on live. You went down and did the Pillmore Beach race coverage for us, which was a spectacle, to say the least.
It was dead. Yeah, me and John went down. It was brilliant. John picked me up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and we made it down. We knew it was going to be a late lib because of the weather, so we took our time down. We got down an hour and a half before the lib. Met some great people. A lot of laughs had. John even got into the sea. But just to watch it from the location where it was just unbelievable. Like, I'm definitely going to try do more for everybody to watch because everyone seemed to enjoy it, and I enjoyed it myself. So it's definitely for the future. Anyway,
it was great to watch, mate. We have had a comment come in, and I'm not aware of the results of it. I've read some of the club results out of it, but I'm not aware of the overall picture. Maybe you are, or others are if you're not. One of the questions come in was Dave Redmond saying, I think the Irish South Road Fed should dismiss this Pillmore Beach race. It is a disaster of a race point.
Well,
any opinions on that, or have you not?
No, because like the lads, and like I race in Kildalton Club, and the lads had good returns. Like I sent 9 boards myself, and I dropped one. And like there was good returns for our club in that race certainly. So I don't know, probably other lads are having bad returns. But no, I think Pillmore, it's only 120 mile. Like it's nothing big. Like it's 116 mile. I was told by a fella from my door the other day. So it's not that much of a challenge for the boards. And it was a southwest wind as well, so we all get home fairly handy. You know, I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay, fair enough. Gary Thomas has said he watched it, and you did a superb job, mate. Dave Beresford said you'll probably be over his race next year. Dave Beresford said he sent 16 and he got 14 home, so no problems there.
Yeah, David lives up the road from me. I know him personally, and he bred me 2 pigeons. And like he'll probably agree with me. I don't think Pillmore is a bad location whatsoever. I think people are happy to send to Pillmore, really. So I don't know. That's a strange one. I was surprised that comment came in.
Guy Ryan says best spot ever. He loves Pillmore Beach. Obviously, we know that already. It looked stunning. It's certainly somewhere I'd like to visit at some point when I'm back over.
It's a great location. It is. It's a very, very nice location.
Dave Beresford said, if anywhere, Barley Cove is a nightmare race point.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I did have a couple of fanchers. I met a lad in Tallaght. I was down getting a bit of stuff off him, and he said that he lost a lot. I do know of a lot of people losing pigeons out of Barley Cove. Yeah, it is. It does seem to be a harder race point for everyone. I personally haven't raced it before, so I went with my pigeons at Castletown. Because obviously this is my first year of being in it, but I haven't raced Barley Cove, and it is hard to get bored out. I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's an interesting one. Right, so I brought you in because increasingly you are a face on RPI.
Yeah.
You're getting more and more involved in what we're doing, which I love because I love the enthusiasm.
It's a great journey, and just loving being part of it. Yeah, definitely.
So we've got quite a lot going on, RPI generally.
It's mental, the amount of stuff that's going on. I can hardly keep up, so I don't know how you do it.
No, it's all good. But like I said before, I'm kind of being a catalyst for this stuff, and then I'm looking to work with other people on various things. And one of those things is the merchandise. I've been blown away by, and this is not meant to be an advertising spot of the show, What it
No,
is talking about more of the movement and what we're looking to create. I have
yeah,
genuinely been
down to
blown away by the amount of
down.
people asking.
Yeah, like the amount of people asking me for merchandise is unreal. So like between two of us talking about it was sort of a forced decision that it's something that we have to do because people want it. So it's like, and it's not a bad thing either wanting the merchandise. So we're more than happy to try sort it out for lads, you know.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be Aaron and I yesterday did a deal where he is going to be running, developing, and what have you, the merchandise for RPI and everything related to RPI. So watch this space because Aaron's going to be your merchandise man. As I say, I'm blown away by the amount of people asking about it. As soon as they saw me wearing one, I can't remember the first time I wore one, but people were asking where they can get them. And again, it's not necessarily buy our stuff. It's more about the movement we're looking to create, the momentum we're looking to create to get this whole thing brought forward. And that's what it is more about than selling stuff. Obviously, people will be able to buy stuff, which by definition we will be selling stuff, but we will not be looking to make an absolute fortune out of it or anything like that.
No,
We're looking to get it out there.
It's just down to the art, like people wearing the RPI logo, getting it noticed, like so. It's nothing got to do with profits or how much we can sell. We're just more than happy for people to wear the brands and to believe in RPI itself. I think because RPI is a great movement, it's going to do great things for the sport, and we do appreciate if people wear the stuff, and we're more than happy to get you a nice thing as well. I was obviously, if you can leave in the comments, me and Mark were bouncing around a few ideas what you want, like pens, mugs, loft coats, polos, t-shirts. Like, what would people, if you can just leave a comment and just say what individually, what would you actually like yourself? That'd be perfect. I can flick through them and I know where the demand is and what I can up orders on and what I can leave orders low on as well for people, you know.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're looking what do people want. We're going obviously with t-shirts, polo shirts, and mugs. They're our main thing. What else do you want? Let us know in the comments. What else would you like? Loft coats, pens, baseball caps, posters.
As well, I said it to Mark. I was thinking about like obviously people like having a diary for the pigeon off. So I was thinking about designing a diary for people's breeding, people's raising. So if you think that's a good idea, let me know if you would like an RPI diary for your loft to manage your own loft systems and to manage your pigeons. Like so, a few people said to me a lot of good pigeon men. It's all done through the books and keeping record of everything. So I think that could be a good idea. But let me know what you think, because obviously I'd like to sort it out for you.
In reply to Ian Gill's comment, yes, it is about branding. It's not about just profit. Trust me, RPI's profit will not be relying on merchandise sales. It will be coming from other things down the line. Trust me. And it is about branding because ultimately, the more people we can get behind RPI, the more it creates momentum and a movement for what we're doing. So, in his typical cynical self, I refute that, Mr. Ian Gill. We've got some comments coming in there, which you can see. So yeah, we can go through those. Thank you for them. Keep them firing in.
Yeah, fire in as much as you can, lads, as much stuff as you can, because the more I get, the better I can be for yous, to give yous what yous want.
Yep. And in addition to that, Aaron is the man that will be guest hosting the shows at the end of the month, by the way. So if you've got stuff you want to talk to him about, address on it, and get involved in, if you want to be a guest while Aaron is doing the shows. He's doing the last Thursday and the last Monday because of the crossover at the end of the month. So if you want to get involved in those shows, he will be doing the guest hosting on that time, which I'm looking forward to seeing as well, because it will be nice.
As well, obviously, just probably stay active. I know, like, people start concentrating on breeding and stuff like that, and for the future of their season for next year. But during the winter, to try keep things a little bit alive, I would like people, if they want to inbox me, obviously Ireland for the moment, I'll try, like, hopefully further down the line, get to England as well. Just, I'm into the back garden fancier, the local fancier as well. So if we could set up a loft visit with anybody, and if you want to just show us around, show us a few boats, show us what you are doing, how you are set up, to let other people see, it's alright if someone doesn't want to do it, that's fine. But if anyone wants to reach out to me, inbox me, I'll try organise, obviously on a weekend, to come around here, and we'll do a little clip, and we'll try to get a lot of small fanciers up onto the page and let everyone have a look and see what people think of it. It was another thing that I just wanted to get across to everyone. So feel free to inbox me, and we can try set up loft visits and just keep something. Just once you are always watching something, and obviously it gives you something to watch at night time. It'd be nice to do. But obviously we've seen inside the big boys loft a few times, and a few people have done it. So I think I want to get the small man up and get people interviewed on the RPI page. So if anyone wants to inbox me, and we'll try to get around to this, and we'll set up dates. So
I agree. Yeah, the plan is to get you, like you said, it's your initiative. You want to do it, and I agree what you should be, and the same over here at the right time. But yeah, if you'd like to see a smaller flyer loft visit interview, then let us know who that is. If you're yourself watching this and you would like that doing as well, we would love to hear from you, because we want to get Aaron on board. And if you're in Ireland, he will be the man that will be doing it. So yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, so I'm looking at more comments coming in. So yeah, we've got some good suggestions on that. Gary Thompson says perfectly, Aaron. The background flyer is very important. These guys compete with the big boys, and that's what we want to be covering as well, and how they do as well. So yeah,
definitely. Like every week, I am scanning through the results and looking for people who are getting a bit of success and staying consistent. You don't initially have to be winning every week. Once I see someone in the top 10 staying consistent every week, he's going to my little notepad and I'm trying to find just to try set up for an interview as well. I think be a nice thing just to see the smaller fancier, because like that's realistically the smaller fancier keep the bigger fanciers down. So I think the little man needs a bit of notice in the sport, and that's what we want to try to do. That's something personally from me that we want to try to do for the sport. Definitely. I'm looking through a few comments here just to see what people want baseball caps to do.
Yeah. No, I agree. Sorry? Gilet is like a shoulderless jacket, like a body warmer thing.
Oh yeah. I actually wear them. I'm quite comfy. They're good.
Yeah, we can look at that down the line for sure. Okay, mate. So yeah, just to confirm, Aaron's going to be your host at the end of the month for 2 shows at the end. If you would like to be a guest on his, I know it's quite a way ahead yet, but time flies, as we know. Let him know. He's in charge of his own shows. He's got no direction by me. He does what he wants, how he wants it. So it's down to him. I
think what I'll do is I'll put up a thread on the RPI page, and just for topics, and I'll get people to comment what topics they should feel that relevant to obviously host and have a conversation on with other fanciers, and then I will personally pick the topics out from everybody's comments, and we'll hopefully go with that then. We're thinking of that today, so if I'll get that thread up, probably in a week or two, I'll get the thread up, and then I can make a few notes of what topics people actually want to talk about. So I can look into them and actually have something to talk about as well. People be a big help.
Definitely, mate. Great stuff. Dinny Kinsella's in the house, the champion of Who Dares Wins. Well, lads, he says. Glad to see you got back finally, mate. And it was an epic trip, I know, for you. But it was a good interview and I enjoyed it. So, yeah, it would be it was an epic trip, but I'm sure it was well worth it. And it was good to see you. And Sadie Kinsella has just joined as well. So we've got 2 people of the same household watching, probably in separate rooms. Welcome, Sadie. Okay, so yeah, cheers, mate, for that. We'll catch you in a little while, but thank you for coming on. and I'll catch you in a bit, all right?
No bother. See you all later.
Okay, so the last thing to talk about now, we're slightly over, but I just want to tell you about it because I want to push it, and it's free. So it is something I want to tell you about. All right, so so you may or may not know, I launched a free advertising section on Racing Pigeon Network, and the harsh reality is it just wasn't working right and it wasn't cutting it. All right, so I've redone the whole advertising platform. Why have I set up rprads.com? Two reasons. One, the advert platform that I had on Racing Pigeon Network, in fact, the whole of the Racing Pigeon Network thing just wasn't working right. That's the one reason. The main reason is because week in, day out, week in, week out, we get a constant stream of people, group owners or admins or people posting saying they have been banned or posts removed from Facebook or all of this stuff. And why? Because I will reiterate the terms or the policies of Facebook, and that is that livestock advertising on Facebook is prohibited. Simple. And it isn't, despite what some people think, it isn't just people reporting people, jealous people or whatever. It's not just that. I'm not saying some of that doesn't happen, but it isn't just based on that. As I've said probably 2 months ago, Facebook, one of the richest companies in the world, their algorithms, their automatic systems are developing day by day, hour by hour to figure this stuff out. And if you in any way, shape or form post natively on Facebook, post livestock for sale or PM me for details or any of that stuff, this algorithm will catch up with you at some point. Simple as that. This is why I've redone the whole ad platform. It is a far better ad platform than it was previously. And that's why I've launched RPR ads, right? So rpiads.com is a way that you can go, you can list birds for sale, equipment for sale. These are the categories we currently have. This will change and develop. Equipment, events, featured adverts, jobs, lofts, miscellaneous, one-off races, other pigeons, because although it is Racing Pigeon International, we are open to not just racing pigeons. Racing pigeon services, vitamins and supplements, and wanted. We will do more categories and work with it as it gets busy. So basically, this is a platform where you can go and list your ads for free, and you can list as many ads as you want. No shady stuff on there or anything like that, but you can go and list your birds for sale for free. At some point, there will be like a featured ad section where you can just pay a few pounds to get your ad featured. That's not going to happen at the moment because until it's up and running and there are lots of ads on there, it's just not something we're going to do. But the basis of this site will be that you will be able to go and list your ads on there for free. It will always be free to list your ads. Simple as that. And your birds. As I said, at some point, there'll be a featured ad section so you can highlight your ads, just like Gumtree does, pay a couple of pounds and highlight the ad. But again, totally not relevant or will not happen until this site is busy and full of ads. And that's it. You can go there now, rprads.com, and you can go and register, name, email address, job done, and you can start submitting your ads in the different categories. There's a couple of little tweaks that I need to do onto it. I'm just waiting for the developers to finish it, but I'm happy enough with the site. We've had a few people testing it out, and it's working. So here's the thing. You can go and list your birds for sale completely for free. Now, you may say, hang on a minute, Mark, didn't I see last week you advertising RPIauctions.com? Yes, you did. But they're two very different things. And there's a reason why I wanted to get the revamped, redone RPI ads site out before we actually launch our auction site. And that is because I wanted to make sure that people had a free way of advertising their birds. Because not everybody's going to want to do an auction and a promoted auction and a marketed auction of a group of birds. Some people will just, as they do a lot on Facebook and other places, want to just list a couple of birds they've got for sale and have the ability to for potential buyers contact them direct, and that's the way it is. So yes, we have RPI auctions launching around the 20th or the week of the 20th of September, but that's a very different ball game. That is a commission-based business, and it will be for auctions of top quality pigeons that we will be promoting and doing all the normal auction stuff as you would expect. RPI ads is a completely free resource, and that's two very different things, and it's important for me that I offer a solution to the Facebook problem. Now, I'm not saying it definitely won't cause problems, but my interpretation of Facebook is you are not allowed to advertise livestock on a Facebook post or thread. I don't know if you could send share a link from RPI ads and put it on Facebook, and that would be an issue. Something I'm trying to get clarification on Facebook from, and I will let you know if I do. But there is there's a resource everybody can go and use, and it will continue to develop, and it will be advertised amongst the RPIA sites and features and business that we're moving forward with and what have you. So there you go. RPIads.com, go and register. Despite what Ian Gill says, it has been thoroughly tested internally before we launched it. So there you go. Go off and have a look at RPIads.com. Somebody asked on Facebook, what am I actually doing to make any money? And I'll answer this. This is the last thing I answer. We look at, and to the people that are still on. I have I've said this before, but I haven't kind of said it in a concise way. I have three specific business areas of RPI that will be happening. The first one is RPI auctions. RPI auctions will be a commission-based business, which I'm looking to aggressively grow and develop over the next few years. That is the first business. The second business within RPI, or the group of RPI, will be Flybet, which will at some point be happening next year, all being well, first quarter of next year, subject to a whole bunch of hoops to jump through and get that operating as an actual license thing. And Flybet will be the first official licensed pool betting site for this sport, and people will be able to go and place a pool bet on any of the main one-off races, and maybe down the line some of the other bigger national races. That is the second element of commercially what I'm going to be doing within RPI. Long term, the third element will be my vision of creating a world-class stud, which is the long-term vision. And they're the three things. Everything else, including this show, the ads, Racing Pigeon International.com, whatever else we've got going on, is what RPI is doing to develop the sport and obviously the brand of RPI, but develop the sport and move this revolution forward. So I thought I would address from the horse's mouth rather than you hear it from others. They are the three things commercially. Obviously, it's approaching 6 months out since I've been involved in this. To get RPI to where it's at the moment has cost a considerable amount of money and not had anything in. That's absolutely fine because that's been, my decision and my doing. But I thought I would answer the question that's been asked by a few people. So there you go. Moving forward to what's happening next. I'm planning to go on Wednesday and do a live broadcast from Walker's Transport to show you their facilities and show you all of the birds coming in from Europe and everywhere else and their holding facilities and what have you. And I will be asking the question about the Brexit thing. And there's nobody more versed to speak about that stuff or the direct implications. He's going to be able to answer that. And then I'm going to be covering the final of the RPRA one-off race on Sunday, this coming Sunday as well. Right, before I go, let's check out any more comments. Dave Redmond says, Top Man Mike, thank you very much. I think you were talking about RPI ads, but thank you anyway. Gary Tomlinson says, can I say Mark has spent many hours at the Who Dares Wins and never charged us 1 penny? He's never asked us for any monies at all. That's very true, Gary. I haven't. I have not charged a single penny to you or any that I've covered. That will be changing next year because it has to. But one of the parts of it is, I've spent a lot of time and effort generally building up the momentum and the following and what have you. And I certainly wouldn't have felt comfortable charging a single penny to anybody when we were first starting because it just wouldn't be fair and what have you. But now people can see the impact that we have, and it's building. And this time next year, who knows where it'll all be. So yeah, it's all good. Anthony says, what time are we going live? Wednesday from With Walkers. I'm guessing, it's only a guess, Anthony, between 5 and 6, but I will post more details as I know it. All right. Right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it. And I'm glad that as many people as normal have watched from our new page or from the page. I will be back, as I said, from Walker's Transport on Wednesday and back here at the show Thursday at 9 o'clock. Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet liked our page, go to facebook.com/Racing Pigeon International. And that's where this show will be broadcast from, as I said earlier, and many more things are going to be happening. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your night. Be lucky and keep flying.